Hey, what's up? I'm trying something a little different here because I don't know. I've seen a lot of YouTube guitar demos, and I don't have the fancy two mics set up, or I'm in my bedroom. This isn't really a studio. But one thing it always seems to be you're compromising something. You've got the vocal mic, and then you've got an amp. I don't play amps on one. And I think oftentimes these are very polite sounding guitar tones, and for the ability for the giving the demo guy the ability to talk at a normal tone of voice and be hi, how you doing, conversational. But frankly, I'm not conversational when I play guitar. I like to crank up that's when it sounds the best. So I'm going to talk first, play after. All right. I'm just going to give you a basic idea of what the history of this instrument. Excuse me. The guitar body is from a guitar I had about 30 years ago. I was in a New York City band called Mechanical Bride. And we were together about 3 or 4 years, played all over New York, a lot of shows. We were really, trying to get that big major label contract. And never did some cool things, but we never quite got there, and I eventually broke up. And this guitar had one of those hockey stick headstock. That was one of those guitars. It had a Floyd Rose. I only got it because I had a Les Paul that weighed a ton. And I didn't want to leave the Les Paul at the rehearsal studio because we shared it with a bunch of other people. So I didn't want it to just walk out. I didn't want to carry this heavy Gibson guitar from the 1970s with me as I went out into the New York night. I didn't want to have to bring it all the way home to my apartment and then come out and try to find my friends later. So I got an inexpensive Strat type guitar that I could leave in the studio and beat on, and it wasn't great. It didn't stay in tune really well. But for some reason, I kept the body and the neck around. They were detached a long time ago. And I hung on to the bridge, which is, in this case, I would have had to do some real surgery to get something else on here. So this actually fits it. And recently I had acquired some pickups for one of my guitars, replacement set of humbuckers from Harmonic Design, who are great pickups, especially their tele pickups are I think particularly good. But I think I've tried everything on their website. Their Z90s are super cool. Anyway, this was the last thing I hadn't tried yet. Is their humbuckers, and they're really nice pickups. I had a set. Now I couldn't sell them as a set because they were wired out of phase. Now I could have sent them back, but it was like an 8-week wait to get them. I think by the time I got them, I thought, oh, they're out of phase. I'll do Peter Green or whatever. So I did install them on my 335. I didn't dislike them so much because of the out of phase thing. They were a little too powerful for my money. I like a very underwound PAF sound on a 335. These were like PAF with a little bit extra. Probably best in a solid body guitar. I did put them in another Strat, and I had individual volumes for each pickup, so I could 100% on both would have been totally out of phase. But what's cool about out of phase pickups is if you decrease the volume on just one of them, the out of phase effect starts decreasing and the volume comes up. So you can get a nice mixture between an out of phase tone and a full-on loud and a humbucker is a pretty loud pickup. So you can find great halfway points. It was a great invention, and I used it once. It just turned out to be like a novelty, and so I took them out and I sold them, but I sold them one at a time. The way it worked out was I figured I'd sell the bridge pickup first, but I ended up selling the neck pickup to somebody, and I thought, that leaves me with one really kick-ass bridge pickup. What else do I have lying around? And voila. I've got here the first Warmoth replacement neck I ever got for an old 70s Strat that's long gone. I got the body of a guitar that I got a long time ago to fill in for a really heavy 1970s Gibson Les Paul Custom. They were both. This has been on a lot of guitars. This has not. But this is a really big, big boat neck, big chunk of maple, and I think width on a neck adds a lot of mid-range, especially in a single coil environment. Well, okay, I got +1 on the mid-range here. I've got a light, let's say Asian made body here. I don't know, it might even be America. It's Charvel. It was the old late 80s Charvel. And I had this pickup, and the pickup came actually with a volume pot, 100 meg volume pot. Usually pots for a humbucker 500K. This is wide open bright, and this is probably the secret of this rather mid-rangey pickup. You got the high end from this. Well, between this light body, which is I'm guessing basswood, but it might, who knows? It's definitely not older. It's too light for older. This big ass neck, this pickup, and 100 meg and a 1 meg pot with no tone control. These are just things, again, that I just had on. I had them in storage. I didn't spend a penny for this guitar. This is all stuff that I had lying around from building other instruments. It turned out when I plugged it in, I was like, yeah, it sounds big and clear, but it does not sound like it's way too bright. It's got way too much of a voice. But you know what it's really good for? Slide. So open E, slide, that's the demo. I'm going to play a little bit of that. And I think you'll hear through my little Fender Princeton one. It's sort of big, clear piano tone kind of thing that I created. And I couldn't be happier because, like I said, it's money for nothing. This was just sitting around. The only thing I had to do was find a few saddle screws to replace 2 of these, which were completely rusted. That's it. I even had the old graphite nut that I had originally that was originally installed on this neck before. I'd replaced it with bone and something else with a 0 fret. Like I said, I'm always tinkering and experimenting, but I really like how this came out. Spurzell tuners. I mean, everything on here is pretty solid. So anyway, that's it. That's the story of this guitar. I'm going to do the demo now. All right.